Hello from the City of London, and welcome to the Simz Sserootnin podcast, where we inspire you to action your 3Gs to grow, glow, and go after your purpose and your passion. And to do that today, we have a guest with us. We have Ernest in the room. Ernest, who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Hi Sima, pleasure to have me here today. So my name is Ernest. I'm working at Adobe within the sales department, supporting enterprise customers across Creative Cloud and Document Cloud. Like Sima, I also done my internship at Adobe, and fortunately I got a graduate offer, hence I'm back
Woohoo.
here today. hence I'm back here today, and I'll be able to leverage some of my knowledge that I acquired during my internship to help inspire some of the younger people that want to do an internship. The youth.
Back in the day.
I want to do an internship or are keen on getting some experience for their early careers. But beyond work, I'm an athlete at heart. I played competitive sports throughout my childhood, particularly football. So I played football from like the age of 6 to about 19, 18 competitively. And that's really what used to get me out of bed in the morning, playing football. But because of COVID, my team that I was playing for were about to fold because they couldn't afford to pay their players as games weren't being hosted, right? So tickets couldn't get sold. And as an academy player during the time, it made me think that football isn't sustainable, which we hear all the time. And fortunately, I had great friends around me. You recommended that I applied for uni the year before, which I did. And I ended up going to university, and the rest is history. Now I'm here now.
You are. And Ernest, what do you think got you to where you are, apart from you going to university and you learning about career and your sporting? What would you say in terms of mindset got you to where you are?
I would say that I was incredibly proactive. Funny enough, the LinkedIn platform, which we all know and love, I created my first LinkedIn account when I was, I believe, 14. And I used it because my friend told me that if you use LinkedIn, it's really easy to access scouts and football academy managers. And so he found a little method. So he was messaging academy scouts to basically come and watch him play. And begging for a football trial, which
Did you do that too?
Yes, I did. So to carry on, I created my account, I copied him, and literally the funny thing is my first 400, 500 connections are all academy managers and scouts. So I still have the messages to this day. I used to literally message a scout every single day. I've got about 200 messages.
Salesman from day one.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Outreach from day one.
And back then, they used to have numbers on their LinkedIn profile. So I would be calling up academy managers. I'd be like, hi, my name is Ernest. I'm an under 14s left back. I'm 5'5".
Oh my God.
5'5", really quick, really agile. And I would like a trial at your club. And obviously, most of the time, they were like, we'll come and watch you. We don't just give open trials because academies are quite bougie. But I was actually able to secure a few academy trials from this. I went to Cambridge United, Scunthorpe United.
Oh la la, wow.
It was Tottenham's elite development, which was really good. I got a trial for them as well. I went to Tottenham's training ground. And I was able to just get loads of trials just from being proactive. And while everyone else was on Snapchat and Instagram, I was as well. I used LinkedIn to try and get ahead. And so you ask why I think where I am, what I think has gotten me to where I am today. I think just being proactive. So even when I went to university, I didn't have a clue about which career paths I wanted to go down because I'm still coming with that football mindset. I used my first year at university to join loads of insight weeks and spring weeks, you name it. So I done AWS, one of the Viva, just different functions like investment, asset management. I didn't know what I wanted to get into. But it wasn't until I done all those spring weeks and internships in spring weeks and insight weeks when I realized that I wanted to do a customer facing role, whether that be consulting, marketing. I don't know why I even thought marketing was customer facing, but it could be.
It can be.
It can be, yeah. And then sales.
It is marketing events.
Marketing events. Yes, you're right. So those were the three roles. So I have a consulting, sales, and marketing, and then I started applying for internships the following year, and fortunately I was able to secure an internship at Adobe. But I think it was just me being proactive that led me to this point.
And how do you stay proactive today?
If you want me to be totally honest, I think it's just something that comes natural to me. I don't, obviously I try to be proactive, but it's just something, it's that natural kick in me. I like to be ahead. I think I'm competitive, and anyhow I can find a competitive advantage, which I did when I was playing football, emailing scouts, messaging scouts, I'm going to use it. And I think what motivates me to keep going is when you see results. So when I was finding opportunities for football clubs by outreaching to academy managers and scouts, that working motivated me to do it even more. I was like, oh my gosh, like this works. But obviously I have to give kudos to my friend that introduced me to the platform. It was funny because we were both in like literally year 9 on this big boy LinkedIn platform and just going absolutely rogue in the messages like, hey, can you get a trial please? And
you should send him this episode and say,
yeah, no, I will.
Shout out to you.
I do thank him because obviously now I use LinkedIn for professional and corporate purposes, but I think I've been on LinkedIn for nearly 10 years, which is crazy now. Yeah, because I created my account when I was 14 or 13, and I'm 23 now, so almost 10 years.
Yeah, well. And Ernest, who else in your life, or not even in your life personally, but maybe someone you follow online, someone you've heard about, would you say has inspired you and has made a difference in what you do?
I'm going to give you someone, but I haven't met this person. So he's actually an author. So during COVID, we all had a lot of time on our hands. And I had so much spare time. Even I was training for football because I thought, initially I was going to go and play for the first team. But, my academy manager and COVID had different plans. I first started to get into reading. And, my first experience reading was during English class and stuff, reading Macbeth. And that was boring, man. I couldn't really focus because that didn't interest me at all. But I think the first book I read, actual book, was Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. And that was the first time I gained exposure to the, in quotation, self-help industry, self-development. But he really opened my mind in terms of, believing myself. And even though I would consider myself, fairly confident, there were still areas that, I could improve in. And Brian Tracy really helped me to understand the psychology of the brain and how you can achieve, more success in a shorter amount of time. And
how?
So with Brian Tracy, he was very focused on your expectations and expectations and self-image, because he said that your self-image is essentially how you view yourself, right? And this is gonna affect your self-esteem, which is how you feel about yourself. And he was very keen on ensuring that even if you haven't achieved anything as of now, let's say you want to become the best footballer in the world, right? Very hard to do, but let's say you wanted to do that. You don't want to have the self-image of someone that isn't that at the moment, right? Even though you're not the best footballer in the world, you still want to carry yourself with that posture and confidence as if you are. Not in an arrogant sense of way, but just to help you
act like the person you want to become.
Yeah, 100%. And I took that into consideration when I'm trying to apply for internships and graduate schemes, because you have to be confident in your ability to secure the job. And that positivity and really practicality way of seeing things really supported me.
Nice. And you say it supported you. Would you say that today you're still actively doing lots of the strategies or practices he recommended in terms of acting like the person you want to become, today at this moment, like I was saying earlier?
No.
Are you growing in that way? Are you acting like the person you want to become?
Yes, 100%. I monitor my thoughts because I'm not sure if you've seen this stat, but I believe 80,000 thoughts per day, and 80 to 90% of them are subconscious. So you don't actually know what you're thinking about. You're not consciously thinking about something. And I think in order to like boost your self-image, you need to monitor the subconscious thoughts, and you monitor your subconscious thoughts by ensuring that you're in the right environment, right? Because I don't know, if you're around a lot of negative people, you're not going to be consciously thinking, oh, I'm thinking negative right now, but the people around you are going to influence the way you think. And so I'm constantly super aware of the information that I take in, food, we call it, digesting the food, and what that's going to do for me mentally. So I'm very cautious with things that I consume, and I try to ensure that everything that I do consume is positive, and if it is negative, how can I make it positive? Because negativity doesn't help in any way.
How do you make what you consume positive? How are you intentional with what you surround yourself with?
Well, I think we have to thank God for the algorithm, isn't it? Because when you
personalization at scale.
100%. If you interact with positive messages and positive content, then that's what the algorithm is going to continue to push out to you. And what's funny is you've probably experienced this as well. Is when you're positive, when you have a practical way of seeing things, you just attract people that are similar to you. So it's really like it's really echoing your mindset, because you have people that share that mindset. So it reinforces that the importance of being positive and being practical. And obviously I have great friends around me, and we're all fairly similar, as you can imagine, because birds of a feather flock together.
Birds of a feather.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. But have you been in situations where you are in environments or you cannot control who's in the room, and there are people who maybe drain you a little bit, where they have this contagious, less attractive energy, but you can't not be around them, like you have to, it's out of your control. Let's say school or a university projects, or even at work, let's say. What would you do in that situation to avoid, because and subconsciously you do get influenced by the people
100%.
around you. How would you mitigate the consequences of their energy?
I think, let's say at university, I know when I was applying for internships, all my friends were applying for internships at the same time, and I believe I was the last person to secure an internship/placement. And I'm speaking with like people from my university, and everyone's talking about the job market being bad, because it was bad as well, and how it's really difficult to secure an internship. And I think what they were saying was true, but then I also thought to myself, okay, someone's going to get an internship. Why can't that be me? Like, someone's going to get a role. Why can't that be me? What differentiates that person to me? Yeah. And I thought, it's really important to not think of yourself as less, even if you don't have the internship. Or let's say you've been applying for internships and you haven't got it. Maybe you're just unlucky. You can go again next time. And I think it's just really important to ensure that if someone does say something negative, or you're around someone that says something negative, don't take it as a fact. See it as like a hypothesis. Maybe you might say, oh, the job market is cooked, and you can't find an internship this year because no one is hiring. Don't see that as a fact. I don't care how many research studies they share with you, how many sources. I don't care. It's a hypothesis. We're going to find out. Okay, that's a fair request, fair statement. The job market is terrible. No one's going to find a job. Okay, let's see. Let's test it. So now you take the action. You make sure that you have the right CV. You've got the skills and experience. You tailor your CV. You personalize your application to these companies, and you just keep shooting applications. And then, test the hypothesis. Is it really cooked? More often than not, you'll be able to find an internship or whatever you're looking for.
Don't take no for an answer.
Oh, 100% not. 100%
Just try, see what happens.
I wouldn't even say just try it. You do it. I feel like if you try, it's kind of like you're dipping your toe into the water. You're meant to dive into the water.
I was in France over the weekend, and I was talking to one of my family members about like his life experience, and he told me if you get thrown in the water, what do you need to do? Yeah. And I'm like, you find a way to swim back up. And he was like, no, wrong answer. And I was like, okay, what would you do? What would you do, Ernest? What would you say to that as a response to that question before I tell you what he told me?
If I got thrown into the water?
Yeah.
Well, I think logically what you'd want to do is, you've just been thrown into the water. You'd want to settle. So, hey, you're in the water now, settle. try and learn how to float, try and float, and then once you've got yourself, afloat, then swim to the nearest destination, maybe the boat to get back onto it, or you swim to the shore if you're close. But I think settling first is very important. You're in the water now, don't panic. You can't get out. You can't, teleport yourself out of the water. You have to learn how to stay afloat, and then you can swim to the nearest safety option, isn't it?
But settle for how long? Like, define settle, the longevity.
Well, look, I think if you're in a difficult situation, if you're in a difficult, you've just been thrown over the boat, isn't it? So you don't want to panic, right? Because we all know that if you panic, you're going to sink. But you just stay afloat. You gather your thoughts, and you make the best decision. Maybe you swim to shore, maybe you swim back onto the boat, and hopefully they don't throw you off again.
Okay. Should I tell you what he told me?
What did he say?
So I said you swim back up, right?
Yeah.
He told me you swim back up carrying a handful of fish. So you don't just do the job, you do it better and to the best of your ability, and you go above and beyond. And I was like, okay. So that's an analogy I'm now going to be using.
Oh, that's good. That's a good way of thinking.
Yeah. But I like the concept of gathering your thoughts to an extent. Because I also think of it as like a microcosm for decision making. And you're like, okay, you need to decide what you're going to do next. I think there's value in making a decision, but also something I've learned is that the most effective people or the most efficient people make decisions in seconds. And whether or not it's a good decision, they've made the decision like 10 times faster than someone else. And by the time that you make your decision and you finally execute on it, that person is 5 decisions ahead because they've already tried and iterated the thing you've been ideating on for so long. Or at least this is what I've experienced, because the old perfectionist in me wants to like make the best decision, right? But sometimes it's just about doing it and seeing what happens. But then like there are things that you do have to think about. So what are your thoughts on decision making?
Like how anyone would respond to that question, it depends. But I think it's very important to, have the ability to make decisions fast, but not every decision has to be made, quickly. I think, for example, CEOs or C-levels, they make decisions, but they're not making decisions every second of the day. They might make one key decision a week, and that will have, lasting impact on the company. So it's going to, boost revenue, save costs, support employee morale, but they're not necessarily making decisions all the time. Because decision making, it is a skill, and because it's a skill, you're using a certain part of your brain to make a decision. You can get tired. You don't want to be making decisions all the time.
Yeah.
You only want to be making decisions when you need to make a decision, right? So I feel like it depends. If you have to make multiple decisions within a short amount of time, then yes, you have to learn how to make decisions well within a short amount of time. But not everything needs to be made. Not every decision has to be made right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's an example of a decision that you think needs to be made in the short term versus one that you would take more time to make?
Okay, in my case, in the short term, perhaps you're on a call with a customer and maybe you're presenting a solution, and then during the presentation they go, well, looks great, but we're not really interested in this. You have to make a decision now. Like now. You can't be like, yeah, fair point, mate. I'll get back to you in about 15 minutes on what I'm going to do next. No. You have to make a decision then. In contrast to perhaps you are exploring options, countries to work in, right? And this is a decision you have to make. You don't necessarily have to make the decision now. You have more time. I'm not saying you have to take 20 years to make a decision, but you should take, at least a couple of weeks, really truly months, do your research, perhaps visit the country, see what the working culture is like there, connect with people there on LinkedIn, ask them, what's the working culture like, how would you compare it to the country you've came from, and hopefully they've come from the country you're looking to leave from, and then you can make a decision from there. But that differs to being on a customer call and they've told you something. You got to make a decision right there and then.
Thank you for sharing. And decision making is a big factor when it comes to being successful, isn't it?
Yes.
So how would you say you define success, Ernest?
Well, I think, I'm quite point blank, and success is really whatever you want it to be, right? If success to you is traveling 30 times a year and you're able to achieve that, then that's success. No one can define success for you. And you can have all the money in the world, be in amazing shape, be charismatic, be smart, but if you feel like you're a failure, you're a failure. So it's all about having expectations, clear expectations. And if you're able to meet those expectations for yourself, then you're a success. And if you're working towards the expectations, you're still a success because you're working towards it. But if you're not, and you feel like you're not working towards your expectations, then you're a failure. So I think it's all up to you and how you define success.
I think that's a great answer, but it's not the answer to the question I asked you. How do you define success? What does success mean to you?
Oh, what does it mean to me? For me, success means pretty similar to the answer I've given you. But for me, it means that I've set goals for myself, right? And I'm actively working towards those goals, or I have achieved those goals. As long as I can see, hey, I've set the target to, run a marathon in 4 months, and I know to be trained effectively to run this marathon, I need to run 20 kilometers a week. As long as I'm running 20 kilometers a week consistently, I'm working towards that goal. So to me, I'm a success, even though I haven't run that marathon.
So sticking to your goals and achieving them, essentially.
Yes, so that's why tracking becomes a very important
How do you
element.
track?
I actually have a habit tracker on Excel. So I have all my goals written out, and then I spend some time thinking what type of actions and how often would I need to do these actions to ensure that I'm able to achieve my goal. And it took a lot of thinking. And then now I use my Excel tracker, and it's a monthly tracker. And for example, maybe I want to, be in better shape. So I need to go to the gym, 10 times a month. I track that. Perhaps I want to become better at public speaking. Obviously, we do our Toastmasters on a Monday. I'm going to deliver 2 speeches a month. And so that would be part of the habit tracker. And obviously, I'd want to ensure that, I'm meeting the expectation for, each objective which aligns with my goals. And as long as I'm doing that, I know I'm on the right path. But if you don't track, you're slacking, because how do you know you're on the right path? You don't.
Do you think it's also, or not do you think, but how do you leave room for unexpected opportunities to become goals? Let's say, for example, there's an opportunity that comes up and it is not aligned to any of your goals. How will you decide if you're going to say no or if you're going to say yes?
Yeah, so for me, I like to keep my goals specific but very high level. So usually opportunities can still fall within the remit of my goal. And this is when decision making comes into play. You need to be ruthless, because you can't, chase, multiple butterflies. If you want to chase 10 butterflies, you're going to have difficulties. Really and truly, you want to be chasing one. And
are you chasing one?
No, I'm chasing about 3. But realistically, if you can chase one butterfly, you're going to have better results. But me just being, multifaceted, I do have a lot of hobbies and things that I like to do. So I'm
just a multifaceted man. What can I say?
I'm just multifaceted, so I do like to chase a few butterflies. But even within the way I chase it, I'm very strategic. I have my habit tracker, so I know that if the butterfly moves to the left, I'm within reach, because I have these objectives, and everything is made tailored to each goal. And I'm constantly changing and seeing whether I should modify objectives that I'm working on, because like you said, things happen, isn't it? And you don't want to be stiff, you want to be agile, and that's when decision making comes into play.
What's something you have started doing differently?
Funny enough, tracking.
So you didn't have an Excel sheet before?
I did, but I wasn't using it. And I thought that I can, freestyle my way to achieve my goals, and I realized it doesn't work like that. You got to track it, because for me, maybe for other people it might work, But you need to see where you are at the end of the month. You need to understand if you're making progress or not.
So you have a monthly check-in or reflection
Yeah, I have
with yourself?
a monthly check-in. I've also got friends as well that have goals, so we are each other's accountability partners. Because if you set a goal and you don't meet the objectives which align, to the goal for the month, it's a red flag. Like, what's going on? And I think if you have an accountability partner, you can express this with them. And maybe, I don't know, something terrible happened in your life, so you weren't able to go to the gym, or you weren't able to go to the public speaking club. But I think it's very important to address challenges, and that's why I think tracking is really important. I've tracked my goals, I've tracked my objectives before, but I wasn't consistent because I was getting bad results. So I was trying to stay away from the Excel spreadsheets.
Avoiding it.
Oh, it looks terrible. Oh my gosh, I can't achieve my goals. But it's the awkwardness. That's why you have to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, that's when you have to do it. And tracking, I think, is really important for me.
Tracking is important, but I think what you said earlier about the mindset of you could be the most successful person from an outside perspective, but if internally you're calling yourself a failure, then you're not going to feel as fulfilled and happy. So I feel that mindset also plays a big role, because in my experience, there's been times I've been the best at tracking, but the mindset or the fulfillment internally was the worst, and so it felt like I wasn't achieving anything, So how do you hype yourself up and reward yourself to be like, I did a good job at this, or I'm doing good in my progress towards this goal? How do you keep uplift yourself?
No, that's a great point. I think how I get motivated when I do what I said I was going to do. So even if it's monotonous, if I saw at the end of the month that I said that I was going to run 100 kilometers, and at the end of the month I ran 100 kilometers, it reinforces that, hey, you're a man that says what he's going to do. And to me, that motivates me, because I know if you run 100 kilometers and, I don't know, you track your calories or whatever, you're going to be in good shape. If you do that consistently, you're going to be in good shape. So I think the result is the motivation in itself.
Mm-hmm. The motivation, yeah.
Yeah, because I've seen a study actually which said that the best motivator is, I'm going to let you guess.
There's a quote that I'm trying to think of that is basically the answer to this question.
Oh, really? Okay.
What is it? It's like...
Because I think I would have got this wrong.
I can't remember the quote, but it's something about how you have to be motivated by the results of your actions, and then that I forgot what it was, but essentially I would say your actions, or the I don't want to say the success of your actions, but sticking to your word, right?
Close. Progress. That's what research studies have shown, that the number one motivator number one motivator for, what was it?
Motivation.
Wait. Yeah, number one motivator.
Motivation.
Yeah, I'm getting confused now. The number one motivator is progress. At first I thought it was money. Then I realized, wait, money is great, but progress is actually better. When you see yourself getting better at something, it's like, oh,
yeah,
I'll hang on. I'll hang on for a bit, Hang on for a bit longer.
Got me, yeah. And speaking of forgetting things, I just forgot something I wanted to ask. What was it?
But to add on that point, that's why tracking is so important, because you can measure your progress. So it helps you stay motivated.
Yeah.
So it's a loop.
Yeah. But tracking is also different to planning. It's a form of planning, I guess, because you're measuring what you've done, and then that links to your next steps. But in my experience, sometimes when I've planned too much, it limits the execution. Or not limits the execution, but it leaves less time for me to execute on some of the goals I have. Because let's say I'm planning some personal goals and how I want to go about executing them, and it's Sunday evening, because I try to do a weekly reset.
Same.
And then Monday kicks in, it's work, and I haven't gotten the chance to really execute the personal goals because I spent too long planning them. Or maybe the problem is I have too many and I'm not...
Didn't you plan them on a Sunday though?
Yeah. But I didn't finish because usually I do it late. And then it's if I don't want to be sleep deprived, I have to go to sleep.
I used to have that issue. you got to do it earlier. You've got to do it earlier.
Yeah.
Because once I use Sunday to plan, and then the rest of the week is just firing because I already know what to do.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'm on autopilot because I don't have to plan anything else.
It's planned for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what to track. I know what to do.
Your emotions can't hijack.
I don't have to think.
Yeah.
That's why I said you don't want to be making decisions all the time because you're gonna have decision making fatigue.
Yeah.
I don't have to make a decision. I know. I'm looking at my Google Calendar. Okay, I'm doing that next week. Okay, I'm doing that tomorrow, and I'm just tracking it. I'm just ticking it. I don't want to have to make a decision unless I have to, right? Like an opportunity comes. But making decisions on whether or not I should go to the gym tomorrow or whether or not I should stay behind at work to learn, I don't know, about a product set. I don't want to be making that ad hoc. That should be already in the calendar.
That's true. When the planning happens earlier, like there was a time I used to go to Hyde Park and go to this one cafe and just journal and reflect on the week before and then the week upcoming and tailor my calendar as per the reflections and just work on autopilot. That's when it's the most like, okay, I'm not letting my feelings get in the way. I'm just doing what I need to do. Like the discipline, you know, everyone says rely on discipline, not motivation. But then also, I don't know, it's like, you do have to sometimes cut yourself a bit of slack.
I don't know. I think it depends on the person, you know. I think it depends.
Not cut yourself a bit of slack in terms of be lazy, but like, let's say, like what you said, if something unexpected comes up, I feel like in the past I would have been very harsh on myself to still expect myself to deliver on a goal or expectation I had. But if there's something like that genuinely like comes up and you really like, you need to prioritize it and also maintain your health. Like before I would sacrifice a lot of health wise, like sleep and like what I eat, etc.
But did you have to though?
Sleeping less gives you more time, and sometimes I just needed time. So
but
yes.
Be honest, why are you being productive throughout the day? Because you don't need all 24 hours.
Yeah, you don't.
So what were you doing that left you with not enough time to get your 7 hours of sleep? Or
well, again, like you said earlier, it depends on the situation we're talking about. But no, it's true. Part of it was probably feeding that like that uncertainty, that lack of time means less time to like quote unquote perfect.
Do you know what it is? I think you got used to not having enough time, and the law of expectations is you usually get what you kind of expect. So if you've been, you know, sleep deprived for months and you're used to staying up late because, you know, trying to finish off a project or whatever, even when you have enough time, somehow subconsciously your mind will trick into thinking that you don't have enough time and you will take longer than you need to get a task done. That's why there's a quote, I'm not sure if you've heard it before, but it's, if you want something done, give it to a busy man, because a busy person has to get it done within a certain amount of time. So they don't have time to diddly daddle, they have to get it done. And I think I always remember that because the times I had the periods I had the most spare time, especially during the summer, like after my internship and I was trying to get stuff done, I just had so much time. I had too much time. You know, like I would sleep, you know, during the day for like 3 hours, then I'll wake up, like, let me watch this Netflix show. Then I'll come back, okay, let me do 2 hours of work. I'll do it tomorrow morning. And then you get used to that, and then that initiates a cycle. And once you start a cycle, it's really hard to break it.
Yeah, I think having a lot of time can be a blocker, but to an extent, because like we said earlier, you shouldn't chase too many butterflies.
No, you shouldn't.
You need to, you could spread yourself too thin if you have too many priorities. And I think that was kind of my thing, right? And that's why I needed to maybe sacrifice on sleep, because I literally did not have enough time to deliver a high quality outcome because I was doing too many things. But then that ended up resulting in me, it diminished my ability to do everything efficiently because of my lack of sleep. So I think the solution was to do less things and do them at a better quality so that my health could be of better quality.
How many things were you doing?
Like at uni, I'm thinking about uni. There was my academics.
Yes,
and then
that's a priority.
Yeah, and it's a priority, but I think equally the leadership positions I had, I learned so much from, and being able to do well in those, perform well, like lead my teams, and like undertake like not successful, because successful is subjective, but successful to me, let's say, in my definition, events that needed time, and effort, and it sometimes felt like there wasn't enough time in the day to do that.
Because funny enough, I know before the 20th or the 21st century, priority was a singular word. Priorities is a new word that we've actually made. And
No way.
Yeah, it goes to show that, we're trying to balance so many projects when really and truly we should be just focusing on one. Priority is meant to just be priority, not priorities. This is a whole new word that we've formed. And I think it's really important to understand what is the priority, and how I kind of define priority is like, what would like really have a negative impact on my life if I wasn't able to fulfill it. And for example, if I'm at university, even if I'm doing, extracurricular stuff at university, like not getting my degree would like absolutely kill me, because like I'm at university. So university was always a priority for me. Even I wanted to apply for jobs and stuff, which is really important. But like, you're not going to get that job or the internship if you don't have a degree.
I'm with you on that. For me, the degree is the priority.
It's the elephant in the room. It's the elephant in the room, isn't it?
But also like the people I've met at uni, the experiences I've had, like all of that, I feel like I've to a degree I've learned more from those things than from my actual degree. And yes, of course, I give credit to coming to the university for the degree in the first place, but like people go to are like really, really successful people don't even go to uni. And
Wait. Who told you that?
I can probably find you an example. Not at the top of my head. Okay, there's someone in my team right now. In my team, he's doing pretty good, and he didn't go to uni.
Survivorship bias.
The what bias?
Survivorship bias, isn't it?
Survivorship bias. What's that?
Well, my auntie played the lottery 5 years ago and she won it. So we should all play the lottery, because my auntie won £1 million, so you can all win it too. And I think we hear this a lot with university, right? Like, university is great. It's not going to guarantee that you're going to get a job after uni or be financially successful. But by and large, you're going to... Remember, most people's metrics of success is earning money. Let's be frank, isn't it?
Yeah.
But by and large, you're going to earn way more money if you went to university than if you didn't. And that's not to say you're going to learn something incredibly different that you can't learn outside of university. But it's just a fact, right? And I think it's really important to understand that university is just a facilitator. But I know a lot of people look at it as, I'm going to university and I'm not able to do this. And I know this guy here, he didn't go to university. But okay, if you take the average person that didn't go to university, would you switch shoes with them? The average, not the outliers that are working at Adobe or founded, really incredible companies. The average person. And the answer is usually no. And I think we often forget that. And sometimes people use the examples, well, if you want to start a business, you don't have to go to university. Jeff Bezos and all this is like, but yeah, they went to Ivy League universities and then dropped out. If your IQ is 150 or 140, then fair enough.
Yeah.
We're talking about the average person. Your IQ is about 100. You're nowhere near the level.
Yeah, I totally agree with the point that university is a facilitator, and I do think these are like out of not necessarily anomalies, but these are more like rare situations. But my point isn't that it's not like an excuse. I'm not trying to say, you don't need to go to university because it's like you can succeed without it. But my point is that it's possible. Like, you don't. What started this conversation? That would
I think you said something about not having to go to university. That your friend is successful and he didn't go to university.
Someone on my team, my colleague. But before that, why did I bring that up?
Because you said you don't have to go to university or something like that.
But why were we talking about university?
Because we're talking about...
priority and getting a degree. No. And I said, actually, I've learned more from other experiences. But I give credit to going to university in the first place, because all of this came from going to get a degree. Like, that was the root, that was the foundation of everything, going for an education. And no, I love education. And to me, one of the most pressing social issues is lack of access to education. I think education is one of the greatest weapons you can have, but I don't necessarily think it's rooted in like the actual traditional form of schooling. I think education comes from speaking to people, learning, knowledge sharing, and attending events. And like, I've learned so much through this internship because I'm like on the job actively practicing, whereas at uni a lot of it is theoretical. They're lecturing you, and that's why with my colleague, like, he's been on the ground, like, he did an apprenticeship and he's like building those skills, he's learning.
So he did, he did an
that's
apprenticeship. So the apprenticeship helped him, right? But,
apprenticeship, but not a degree apprenticeship.
But like but even with apprenticeships, they're not easy to get.
Yeah.
And I think people are often like, oh, don't go to university, do an apprenticeship.
But that's still not going to university.
Yeah, but a lot of people, you still need connections to do an apprenticeship, right? And what I've seen is not with everyone, but a lot of people that do apprenticeships, they come from pretty wealthy, sometimes upper middle class backgrounds, and so if all things fail, they still have their dad who works at this company that can bring him in, or they have an auntie or an uncle, so they have the connections, right? But for me, I didn't have that, so I went to university to find opportunities and open doors for myself. So I feel like it does irk me the wrong way when I see, especially like millionaires or really rich people that say, oh, well, I never went to university and this worked out for me. But it's like, but if it didn't, you would still be okay.
That's
right?
a good point, yeah.
And that's the opportunity cost. People don't think about, okay, what's this person's risk tolerance? What do they want? It's like you saying, oh, you don't have to go to the gym. Well, it depends. What do you want? Do you want to decrease your heart rate? Do you want to, I don't know, lower your blood pressure? There are many ways to do it. I don't know, perhaps you want to do more pull-ups in the gym. It depends, right? You don't need to go to the gym to be fit. You can run outside. You can do press-ups in your house. So I feel like you need to tailor the solution to the person. And I think people don't do that with university. If I wanted to become an astronaut right now, I would need to go to university. It wouldn't be a question, oh, should I go to university? No, people are like, you have to go to university.
Yeah.
So how come people don't even ask you what you want to do? It's always, you don't have to go to university. Like my brother, he wants to study, I think, medicine. He has to go to university.
Yeah.
It's not a conversation about him doing an apprenticeship or him finding ways around. No, you have to go. So you need to find out, when you speak with someone, what do they want?
It all boils down to someone's priorities.
Yes, exactly. But people don't do that. Priority. People don't do that. People go, oh, well, my dad didn't go to university and it worked all right for him. It's like, well, yeah, that's because your dad didn't need to go to university for what he wanted. Some of us don't have that luxury.
But this also, like I said, it's not an excuse. It's just, it's an example. Like, I think it depends how you use that phrase. Like, when people just use it as like, oh, a reason or an excuse to not do something that maybe they're too lazy to do, then that I understand is you shouldn't necessarily do that. But if you're just exemplifying, like, okay, this is possible, like, it has happened. Like, your point when you said that the vast majority of people who are not the outliers, like, who don't have a degree, maybe they're not the most quote unquote conventionally successful.
Yes.
This almost like contradicts the point of using people like my colleague as an example to say that, okay, you don't have to go down the traditional pathway, you don't have to be like everyone else. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I feel like what I'm saying, what isn't happening in my brain is not coming out accurately, but yeah. It all boils down to your priority.
Priority, exactly.
Priority. But Ernest, if you were to give the audience a piece of advice or a recommendation as to how they can spread serotonin today, what would you tell them? Or what will you tell them?
Do you mind clarifying what serotonin is again? I know it's a chemical within your body that helps you be happy, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a mood stabilizer.
A mood stabilizer?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's a chemical associated with your mood and regulating your mood and making you feel better.
Okay.
And that's how it stabilizes.
So if you wanted to spread serotonin,
I like to associate it with happiness too, because it's one of the 4 happiness chemicals.
Interesting.
Alongside endorphin, oxytocin, and dopamine.
So how people can be happy.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think you can be happy, nor can you chase happiness. I think it's more about fulfillment.
This is a whole nother episode.
It is a whole nother. You can't be happy. Happiness is an emotion, right? Like, you never hear people say, oh, like, I'm
okay,
angry.
How can you stimulate the emotion of happiness?
Fulfillment. And sometimes that means doing things that don't necessarily make you happy at that moment of time, but once they yields result, it's going to help you gain fulfillment. And I think fulfillment is more important than happiness. But I think a byproduct of fulfillment is happiness. But happiness is an emotion, right? It comes and goes. You can have the best life ever and you still find things to be angry or moody about. But if you're fulfilled, the same thing will happen, but you have the byproduct of happiness. So always look for fulfillment, not happiness.
I like that. And what I was telling you before we started this episode was that I feel like sometimes I'm never satisfied, but actually you can choose to be satisfied.
You can.
Do you know Ali Abdal?
Yeah, I've heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, he's a productivity guru. I follow. I've been watching his content for years. I really like his content. And when I used to have a lot, I was like, I'm just naturally a bit harsh on myself, but sometimes I'm too harsh on myself. And it's not good. It's really not good. And once I watched a video from him, and he said, like, at the end of the day, like, yeah, you could have a very quote-unquote unproductive day. But if you just choose to be satisfied, you will feel so much better. Like, you can just start the day more fresh tomorrow, or even, like, take the next hour go at it with a much better state of mind. You can just choose to... It's all up to you. It's up to you, and your everything is in your control when it comes to your mindset. And if you just choose to be a bit more fulfilled, you'll feel better about yourself, and that'll probably motivate you to that like feeling will probably encourage you to do what you actually want to do. So yeah, like, it's like what I said earlier, looking at that list and either feeling horrible about yourself or looking at it from a more positive perspective and choosing to be a bit more fulfilled.
I think just being honest. Because, like you said, you could have an unproductive day, but it's more about how you perceive yourself. If you said to yourself that, you know, I'm Simma and I do X, Y, and Z, and you're constantly not living up to that, you're going to feel bad because you're not living up to the expectations you have of yourself. So in order to feel satisfied, you're going to have to lower those standards or rise up to them. And I think that's how you gain fulfillment. But you're not silly, right? You're not stupid. Your body knows when you're lying to yourself. So I think you need to ensure that your expectations of yourself align with what you're currently doing. Otherwise, it's going to cause you to be depressed.
Yeah, being honest and realistic.
Yes.
But I think being realistic is different person to person.
Very different. Very ambiguous.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Ernest's message to spread serotonin. Fulfillment. Thanks so much, Ernest, for being a guest on the podcast. It was great to have you.
Thank you for having me as well. Appreciate it.
And we hope this gave you some serotonin, everyone. Take care. You too.